to talk about this, I guess, stereotype that judges are very stubborn and set on making their ways come true, and perceivers are more go with the flow. And we're going to have like more of a freestyle conversation on whether that's actually accurate or whether it's really attributed to something else. And today we're going to talk about how maybe it's more attributed to your perceiving axis. I feel like everything we do is like related to your perceiving axis. This kind of came up when Alex was, or maybe I've been inviting Alex to a bunch of stuff and she wants to know like what's gonna happen so she doesn't get herself into an event that she doesn't like want to be in. And then I was like, yeah, I don't really care, whatever we're doing, I'll like just do the thing. And then you were like, wait, really? Like you don't care if it's gonna be something that you don't like? And I was like, well, I'll probably like anything, or I'll probably just be neutral enough to just do the thing that we end up doing.
I think it was also because someone else, so like an SJ basically. Because at first we were like, oh, maybe that's a judge. Yeah. No, I know. I just didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say.
I'm fine. No, I thought you actually don't remember because you have an eye and you often remember nothing. He's usually up for doing whatever thing.
Yeah, and he's ESTJ. In case you don't know.
Yeah, so I was thinking, oh yeah, even though he's a judger, he's not like Alex being like, oh, I must know exactly what I'm getting myself into. He's more just like, okay, whatever we're doing, I'll just like do the thing. So I thought, oh, maybe that's like an NESI thing versus, because I know like some SFPs who are incredibly like, oh my god, like Jackie. Instead of just going to the party that he's invited to, he was like, okay, what is gonna happen exactly at this party? Like we had to explain exactly what was to unfold at this party before he decided that he would like go or not go.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that in my video with Eric, who's ESTP, he kind of pretty much said the same thing too, that like he has this vision of reality that he kind of wants to manifest or wants to make happen in some way. It kind of makes sense when you think about the nature of the cognitive functions, or I guess the nature of the axes more so, because NISE way more are, I think, grounded in actual reality and what's happening. And then through that, NI can pick up on little patterns and project likely future possibilities. And often I think we have a lot of like preference for this, because I guess NI is like internalized and subjective, right? So it's also, I think, what we think is most likely, but in a lot of times it can also be like what we would prefer to unfold. The way at least NI works for me is that I can really envision exactly how I want like a certain circumstance to unfold. And I think this is because NI is so singular in focus, but yet also kind of holistic and sees the whole SE reality as one singular thing. And I think maybe for your axis, it's because SI is much more about specific little components. And so maybe there's multiple ways in which, like, let's say you like 10 different components, and maybe there's multiple NE possibilities of how to combine these 10 different components you like into various scenarios where you could like this sort of thing.
I think it's because it's really hard for me to get bored because I'm always interacting with intuition in an external sense. I think that's why. Honestly, I can watch like the most boring movie ever and still be like,
and it still like, generates ideas.
Like I'm like at least in a baseline level of entertainment at all times because I'm interacting with intuition in the external environment. It's almost like interacting with it as if it's an object. Like sometimes I sit in a room. Okay, this is funny. Tell me if you guys think this is weird, because my coworker thought this was like the weirdest thing ever. He was like flipping out. But I said that sometimes I would just sit in a room, all media off, and just like think. And he thought like, who would do this? Are you a psychopath? But yeah, no, I'm like entertained because I'm like interacting with my thoughts. In a sense, we have greater personal control or personal ownership of the sensory level, like what happens to us, because it's introverted sensing. So it's like, okay, maybe this thing is bleh in reality, but like my association with it or what I make it out to be in my head is good. So I think we can go through a variety of experiences and take what we want away from it in a sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. I can kind of fathom a way in which like maybe negative things happen for like a reason. But I feel like that's such an like NI thing too. Kind of like the SI thing. I guess it's more about your internal experience of the event, but for NI maybe it's like my internal cause or theory of like why a negative event could actually have a positive implication overall.
Well,
so
yeah, you have more like control over ideas, I guess,
Right.
and like something like life has a lesson is an idea, but I don't think I
Right.
have any ownership or control over my ideas. Like I said, I just have an idea and it doesn't even seem like mine. It seems like I just grabbed it out of the sky and then later it's gone.
Right.
It's like these clouds passing me by. Like that's how I experience NE.
That makes sense. No, I do think that we have less control over how we experience the world, so we want to be choosy and based on our NI patterns of what we
Here
like.
I wrote like, okay, the SE ones, they're forced to accept reality as it is instead of interpreting it for themselves. So then they try to control or change it. But we are already kind of changing it in our mind anyway. So it's like, hey, we can just do whatever you want. I think I'm always like, yeah, we can just do whatever. And actually, the SJs I know, not just my boyfriend, but also like one of my friends. So she's usually like, yeah, what do you want to do? I'm okay with whatever. What do you think of this? Yeah, but then you're like, no, I know exactly what I don't want to do for this event.
And I think when I try to be more open, then I think maybe because I don't retain the sensory info that much, I don't often remember a lot of specific things that I like or specific things I don't like. Like I recently went to a meetup that was more physically oriented, which definitely isn't something I'm good at, but I was just like, oh, this sounds fun and I should just try fun things and why not? But then I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is why I don't do things like this. I'm not that athletic or like physically inclined. So.
Okay.
In that sense, it kind of reinforces like, okay, that's why I should just go with my NI idea of what I want out of a circumstance. And then when I try new things, I may or may not like them. And then I may not even remember the specific SI details about why I like them, but I just generally, and I know that, okay, I don't like that thing and that's good enough. Before this, we would have thought that like it's more judgers, right, who like to be more in control of these sorts of things, right? But I think it's true to some extent.
Yeah, no, judges still like to be in control and have a plan, but I think for the activity itself, I don't think the NE access people, they put as much weight on the... Yeah, it's kind of a structured content thing. I don't think the NE SI people put as much emphasis on the content of what they do, but I think the judges still prefer to have control over the structure of how things unfold.
Right. And I guess just generally, I think it's about whether maybe you're more critical of like the external world or critical of like your own internal kind of judgment system, right? So SJs might still be more evaluating the external, but then might be more laid back about how things unfold. And like on the opposite side, SPs might be more kind of critical.
I don't think it's like how things unfold. I think it's like what things unfold.
Right.
I don't think they're as picky about what the thing is, but they still, I think all judges care about how things are unfolding. They like to be a bit in control of that process and not have like weird, super unexpected things happen.
Right.
But I think the thing itself, the SJs are more flexible on rather than the NJs.
That makes sense, because I guess with SE we can't escape the thing itself. It's just there.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Yeah,
with SI, it's like, oh, I can interpret that however I choose to interpret.
Oh yeah, you guys can't escape from the thing.
Right.
That's like the movie The Thing was like made for you guys.
Yeah, see, I wonder if this is maybe a little side note. I get way too scared by horror movies, and I wonder if this is related.
We should like do another movie called like Scare Styles. So we did humor styles, but we could do like a fear styles.
Yeah, talk about horror movies, because I do think that I'm more scared of it because of SE. While as with NESI, you can kind of compartmentalize the supernatural as like something that doesn't exist. But when I see supernatural things existing in our reality, then I think I'm more predispositioned to subconsciously believe that it actually exists in our reality.
No, that's so interesting because Alan has like two friends who I think are ENTJ, like both of them, and they're both like super scared of horror movies.
Yeah, because if I watch a horror movie, like I won't be able to like shower for like or sleep for like 3 weeks because I've like showered with the shower curtain wide open before because I just cannot confine myself in the shower after I watched a horror movie.
Thanks for sharing that, Alex.
Well, I mean, the door's closed, but it just gets the water all over the floor.
So funny.
Yeah, so I'm curious about what you guys think. Because as always, we kind of like form these theories, I guess, based on like maybe a few people in our life. But it's always cool to hear you guys chime in and see if you relate with this. Especially the SJs and SPs, because those would be the kind of seemingly opposite types,
outliers,
right? Yeah, so it'd be cool to hear from you guys and see if you relate to this little theory of ours. And so we offer typing services at cognitiveaid.com, which we do on objective measures. So if you want to check that out, the link will be below. And we'll also link to our Patreon page below because we offer perks for you guys on there, and we have a little community where we can chat. So yeah, awesome. Oh gosh, that's awkward.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, wait, let me think of one.
I might have to put that in because it was funny.
Oh, you guys doing these outros stresses me out. Okay. And as always, we'll see you next time. Bye.